think he's a hybrid. His body language, facial structure is human. But the thing with Ahmadinejad is see that he belongs to such a dark sect of Islam, which really only exists, as far as I know, in Iran, which is called the Hojjati. And their beliefs are so dark. Muslims would agree easily to that. That he doesn't need to be a hybrid. His mind is given to such dark things that he easily, does what he's asked. And what's interesting about him is that he has spent $17 million of the state money to build in the south of Tehran a mosque with a seating area for thousands of people, huge parking lot, and this mosque was built around a well. And he says that inside this well is the 12th Imam, who in the Shia thinking guides world affairs. And the 12th Imam is speaking to him, and that the destruction of the State of Israel is imminent, and that it is in the context of this war that he will make his appearance, and Ahmadinejad is one of his agents. So he's claiming that he's hearing voices and having something talking to his mind out of this well. I know it may sound crazy, that he's saying these things, but he has a very large following. And when I listen to him speak in Persian, he's a very intelligent man that speaks very well, and he's really wrapped a lot of people around his finger. It's kind of like Hitler. When he speaks, you're drawn in. And so there might be something behind him, and it's interesting that the Book of Revelation talks about all these this demon army coming out of a pit. So to say that there's something down there, it may not be that crazy. I mean, the Book of Revelation even talks about 4 angels that are kept in the river Euphrates, that they are to be released, and they bring about wars that kill 1/3 of mankind.
You mentioned a demon army. Is it not the goal of this alien-human hybrid program to raise, in effect, a demon army right here on Earth?
Well, if there's going to be an actual war in the Valley of Megiddo with the Messiah, then you would need an army. And without a doubt, that is one of the purposes of the creation of hybrids. Other purposes you're mentioning is to infiltrate high places of power. In Iran, when you look at the leadership, Khamenei, I think the supreme leader, he also looks very human. And again, their minds are given to such dark things that they don't need to be hybrids. But are there hybrids among them? There is no doubt in my mind.
Are hybrids aware that they are hybrids?
That is a question that I have wondered myself. What this research shows from the interviews he's had with abductees who've had lots of contact with hybrids, what they apparently say is that the hybrids themselves don't seem to know the full picture of why and what is going on, that they are simply carrying out tasks that are given to them. So are they aware that they're hybrids? Yes, I would say that they are, because they're born in a laboratory, grown someplace else, and then infiltrate human society as adults, because it takes a long time for them to learn how to be human. What the research shows is that abductees are connected to these machines on one end and the hybrids on the other end. Then all kinds of strong emotions are brought out from past memories in the abductees. And as they are experiencing these emotions, the hybrid experiences them through the machine and learns how to be human. So there's a huge part of the training that occurs someplace else. So I would say that they are aware of that they're hybrids. I would say that they're aware of thing, but they're not aware of the big picture. That's left to the higher command.
If a hybrid, excuse me, Ali.
No, please. Go ahead.
Ali Siadatan is the writer-director of UFOs, Angels and Gods. If a hybrid is being groomed, I suppose, for a position of power.
Yes.
Let's say the President of the United States.
Right.
And obviously would be helped along by other alien hybrids in places of influence like the Council on Foreign Relations, etc. if that person is in fact an alien hybrid, a whole backstory for that individual would have to be created.
Yes.
Because they don't have obviously human parents. They were born in a lab, as you described. And what I'm getting at is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book by Anton Chaikin and Webster Tarpley called The Unauthorized Biography of George. But when you read that book, you get the impression, and I've talked to other researchers who have said the same thing about the Bush family.
Yes.
There's a lot of confusion as to the actual origin of not only George Herbert Walker, but also the present occupant of the White House.
Yes.
A lot of confusion about the ancestry. There's some, in fact, conflicting reports about where certain members of that family went to school, where they were born, where they were raised. It does sound rather suspicious, don't you think?
Well, for sure, it would sound suspicious. As far as the Western world is concerned, the person that I find really interesting to be perhaps as a hybrid is Blair.
Really?
Yes. I remember seeing in a Toronto paper when the war broke out recently with Iraq, this cartoon where George Bush was holding a bulldog that was just rushing, and that it said Blair on the bulldog. And I find it interesting that out of the blue, he's now the envoy to the Middle East, to the Holy Land, negotiating this peace.
What about what is it about Blair physically you think suggests he is an alien human hybrid?
It's an intuition that I have had about him. So unfortunately, I can't give you a good answer and say, well, look at his ears or look at the way. It's just the whole package of who Blair is, his charisma, his role in history, his newfound job as the peace envoy to the Middle East. He's supposed to help the Palestinian side come out with something that the world diplomats can read and agree to and like. And the very first thing he did, the second day on the job, he said that we have to negotiate with Hamas. And he said that at a time where the breakup with Fatah had just occurred and the world opinion was really with Fatah. Of course, by saying that, he sent a signal out to all the Muslim holy warriors and said, you know what, I'll take you guys into consideration. But it prompted Merkel from Germany to say, Blair has to understand that he's working for the quartet and not the quartet for him. He can't go down there and set policy. But that showed me he's got his own agenda. And what is he doing down there? Who is he working for? It's like John the Baptist. Is he making the road for his master ready? Is that his mission down there? I don't know, but I've always had an intuition about Blair.
Discussing the alien human hybrid program. That is, in fact, the goal of the UFO abduction phenomenon.
Yeah.
Ali Siadatan is our guest, writer-director of UFOs, Angels and Gods. How many years has this hybrid program been going on by your estimation, or maybe David
Jacobs estimates that it really the baby boomer generation. So again, we're back to 1948, 1947. The post-World War II generation has provided a very healthy, large gene pool for them to carry out their mission.
Is everyone who's abducted then used in this hybrid program?
Yes, that's the whole point of the abduction.
Okay. Now, do the math for me. Break it down. In 50 years then, 60 years rather, 60 years of this ongoing UFO program, how many hybrids are out there walking around now? Well,
the survey that the Roper organization did for David Jacobs' team, and they're very conservative in the questions they asked, and they filtered lots of people out, it eventually came down to about 5% of the American population
have been abducted.
Yes. And do the math and say, well, maybe that is, in fact, an indication of what's happening on a global level. What's 5% of 6 billion?
Let me see.